Good day everyone. Today we're going to discuss and tackle about the chapter 1 of this subject, which is RA 1425, also known as the Rizal Law. So pag-aaralan natin kung ano nga ba ang nilalaman ng Rizal Law, ano nga ba ang provisions nitong law na to or nitong batas na to, at aaralin din natin yung history ng Rizal Law bago siya naging officially na isabatas sa Congress.
Hello, good day everyone. Today we're going to discuss the Republic Act number 1425, also known as the Rizal Law. So what is this all about? Republic Act number 1425, also known as Rizal Law, was approved on June 12, 1956, an act of mandating all public and private institutions, including state, colleges, and universities, to include the Dr. Jose Rizal's life, works, and writings as a course across programs. So all colleges and universities in the Philippines offering tertiary programs have been required to have the Rizal course as part of their curriculum. The Rizal course is a required course which was mandated by Republic Act number 1425. Okay, the complete name of this RA is an act to include in the curricula of all public and private schools, colleges, and universities courses on the life, works, and writings of Jose Rizal, particularly his novels Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, authorizing the printing and distribution thereof, and for other purposes. So this is the reason why you have this subject in the college. So lahat ng schools, public man yan or private, kailangan i-take up itong subject na ito, which is Rizal, okay? Because it is mandated by the law. Okay, now let's move on with the history of the Rizal Law. Bago siya na kilala bilang RA 1425, also known as Rizal Law, ang dati niyang pangalan or nung bill pa lamang siya, ang tawag dito ay Senate Bill 438, known as Rizal Bill. And the author of this bill was Senator Claro M. Recto, which is considered as the father of Rizal Law. Itong Rizal Law na to ay kino-consider as one of the most controversial bills in the Philippines. Okay, so why? Recto's original bill made it obligatory for college and university students to study the life and works of Jose Rizal. But what made it more controversial? The issuance of the bill was not welcomed by various quarters. The Catholic Church in particular assailed the Rizal bill as anti-church because it forced the students to read Rizal's works like the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which contained passages that were anti-church. So, ang church mismo ang nanguna sa pag-oppose or pagkontra sa pagpasa ng Rizal Bill. Why? It's because according to them, yung mga sinulat ni Rizal ay naglalaman ng mga pahayag na maaring makasira sa image ng church, or to make it simple, anti-church lahat ng writings ni Rizal. Kaya inoppose or kinokontra ng Catholic Church. They presented fears that the religious beliefs of the young students would be harmed by reading Rizal's works while they were at their formative years. And according to Catholic Church, vina-violate nitong bill na to yung freedom of religion and conscience ng bawat tao, okay? So, kung i-force or ipipilit na ipabasa at ipaaral sa mga estudyante itong works and writings ni Rizal, ay mava-violate yung freedom of religion and conscience na nakasaad sa ating batas, okay? Okay, so tuwing nagkakaroon ng hearing sa Senate, present lagi dyan ang mga priests or yung mga pari, okay? Many of these priests were foreigners, okay? This was a clear interference of the church on the making of the policies by the state. The actions of those foreign priests was also a case of foreign interference in the country's internal affairs. So, could you imagine na majority ng priests na present sa Senate na kumokontra dito sa pagpatupad ng Rizal Bill ay mga foreigners or mga dayuhan, okay? So, the actions of these foreign priests was also a case of foreign interference in the country's internal affairs. In one seminar, one of the oppositors named Father Jesus Cavana commented that Rizal's novels belonged to the past and it would be harmful to read them because it presented a false picture of the conditions of the country at the time. And according kay Father Cavana, out of 333 pages daw ng Noli Me Tangere, meron lamang 25 patriotic statements compared to 120 anti-Catholic statements. Okay? So 25 lang daw dun sa pages ng Noli Me Tangere ay it's all about patriotic statements, while the 120 pages, lahat na yun ay anti-Catholic statements. Okay? Another commentator was Jesus Paredes, said that the novels contained objectionable matter and Catholics had the right to refuse to read them. Okay? Lawmakers such as Congressman Miguel Cuenco and Senator Francisco Rodrigo voiced the opposition of the church in both houses of Congress. Senator Rodrigo commented that he would not let his teenage son read the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo because it might endanger his Catholic faith. Okay? So nagpropose ngayon si Senator Rodrigo na ang ipabasa ay yung short version, okay? Yung annotated version ng novels instead dun sa unexpurgated versions or yung original version ng novels ni Rizal. Okay? So yung summary ang gusto niyang ipabasa. Ayaw niya or he disregard the original version or the unexpurgated version of the novels. Okay? So the church continued its opposition to the Rizal bill by calling all Catholic voters to reject lawmakers who supported Recto's Rizal bill. Okay? Then pastoral letters were read in masses voicing opposition. Bishops threatened to close down Catholic schools if the bill was approved. So ganun na lamang ka-desperado ang Catholic Church noong mga panahong yun na wag ipasa yung Rizal bill, okay? So Senator Recto stood his ground and dared the Catholic Church to shut down their schools, knowing that this was only an idle threat since the Catholic learning institutions were its major source of income. Okay? So, ni-reject ni Senator Recto yung suggestion ni Senator Rodrigo na ang ipabasa sa mga estudyante ay yung short version or yung summary ng novels ni Rizal. So, ni-reject yun ni Senator Recto. So, after a month-long standoff, a compromise bill was filed. So, nagkaroon ng changes, okay? It was authored by Senator Jose P. Laurel and it was based on the proposals of Senators Roseller, Lim, and Emmanuel Pelaez. Okay? So, noong June 12, 1956, finally, naipatupad na rin ang Republic Act No. 1425, also known as the Rizal Law. Okay? So, the law accommodated the objections of the Catholic Church. So, makikita natin to sa second paragraph ng Section 1 na kung saan inaalaw or pinapayagan ng mga estudyante na magkaroon ng exemption from reading Rizal's works for religious reasons. Okay? So, meaning to say, pwedeng hindi basahin ng estudyante yung works ni Rizal, okay? As long as it is because of religious reasons, okay? However, the law still requires the reading of the unexpurgated versions of Rizal's novels. So, meaning to say, kailangan pa rin yung original version ng novels ni Rizal ang mabasa, okay? So, it also provided the funding of publication of Rizal's works and their distribution to the countryside. Okay, so presently, the Rizal Law is more than 50 years old now. And okay, so that's the history of the Rizal Law bago siya naipatupad sa Kongreso. At ngayon ay inaaral na natin, okay? Inaaral na lahat ng students sa college, okay? And even sa high school, di ba? When you were in third year and fourth year high school, pinag-aralan natin yung kwento ng Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Now, let's move on to the provisions of the Rizal Law. Section 1. Courses on the life, works, and writings of Jose Rizal, particularly his novel, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, shall be included in the curricula of all schools, colleges, universities, public or private. So, Section 1 talks about the requirement for students in the colleges and universities to study the life, works, and writings of Jose Rizal. So, yun lang yung pinupunto ng Section 1 na kailangan ang lahat ng writings ni Rizal, especially yung two great novels niya, which is The Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, ay ma-include or mapasali sa curriculum ng lahat ng educational institutions. Okay? So, yun yung point ng Section 1. Now, let's proceed with Section 2. It shall be obligatory in all schools, colleges, and universities to keep in their libraries an adequate number of copies of the original and unexpurgated editions of the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, as well as of Rizal's other works and biography. So Section 2 talks about the requirement for the colleges and universities to have sufficient and unexpurgated copies of Rizal's works and writings, especially his novels Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, in their respective libraries. Okay? So sa madaling salita, ang nilalaman o ang isinasaad ng Section 2 ay lahat ng schools, okay, public man yan or private, kailangang may sapat na kopya ng lahat ng isinulat, okay, ni Dr. Jose Rizal, particularly yung novels niya, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. And another thing, kailangan unexpurgated version or edition yung kopya na nasa library, meaning to say the original version. Okay? So that's Section 2. Now let's talk about Section 3. The Board of National Education shall cause the translation of the Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, as well as other writings of Jose Rizal, into English, Tagalog, and the principal Philippine dialects. Okay? Section 3 talks about the translation and publication of Rizal's works to English and other dialects of the Philippines in cheap editions, and the distribution of his works through the Purok organizations. Okay, ang nilalaman ng Section 3, kailangan daw magkaroon ng pagsasalin or translation yung writings ni Rizal. Okay? Maaring ito ay sa Ingles, sa Tagalog, or any dialects as long as maiintindihan ng bawat Pilipino. Okay? Okay, now let's move on to Section 4. Nothing in this act shall be construed as amendment or repealing Section 927 of the Administrative Code, prohibiting the discussion of religious doctrines by public school teachers and other person engaged in any public school. So Section 4 talks about the stipulation that the discussion of Rizal's idea does not violate the state's prohibition of discussion of religious beliefs in the country's public learning institution. Okay? Okay, so that's Section 4. Section 5, the sum of 300,000 pesos is hereby authorized to be appropriated out of any fund not otherwise appropriated in the National Treasury to carry out the purposes of this act. So, Section 5 talks about the budget, okay? So, sa budget for the publication of popular and cheap editions of Rizal's works. So, yun lang ang sinasaad ng Section 5. Yung sapat na budget para i-publish yung works ni Rizal. And Section 6, this act shall take effect upon its approval. So, finally, June 12, 1956, na-approve ang Rizal Bill at naging Rizal Law. And it's more than 50 years old now, okay? So, 1956 pa siya ipinatupad. Okay? The Rizal Law directs the National Board of Education as its implementer and authorizes it to come up with its implementing rules and regulations, including those of a disciplinary nature, such as the punishment of institutions which refuse to implement or properly implement the law. Okay? So, ang National Board of Education ang bahalang mag-implement ng mga rules, protocols, and regulations, and sila rin yung in charge na magbigay ng punishment sa mga schools or educational institutions na hindi susunod sa pagtupad ng batas na ito. Okay? So, it also provides for exemption of students from reading Rizal's works that may affect their religious beliefs. They, however, are not exempted from taking the course itself. Okay? So meaning to say, ang estudyante pwede niyang hindi basahin. Okay? Pwede siyang ma-exempt na basahin yung mga works ni Rizal. For example, yung mga tula niya, yung mga essay na ginawa niya. However, hindi siya exempted or hindi exempted ang estudyante na hindi kunin, okay? Na hindi kunin yung subject na to, hindi aralin yung subject na ito, okay? So, that's the Rizal Law, okay? That's the provisions of the Rizal Law.